And as always, we're going to just kind of do our Friday afternoon flow. Usually we do this power hour on Friday, but I actually have to head out for power hour, sadly, so I'm going to miss power hour. So I'll hang out here for an hour, maybe hour 15 or so, and just kind of look at flow and all that. And I suppose I should share my screen. That would probably be a great thing to do. So yeah, we'll see kind of a big rally here. We'll kind of do how we did yesterday. I kind of want to start out with the market tide here, and obviously a lot of bullish flow coming in today, a lot of bullish premium. Now mostly led by Tesla, but if you look at it from earlier here, let me come back here, from our 902 one, that 902 one was really telling here. I mean, you could see those massive spikes there, and that net call premium and puts were kind of tailing off. There's a small little spike there, but a lot of call volume and a lot of net impact from some bigger names there. So SPY, obviously, NVIDIA. And then we actually ended up obviously making a good move up today from that market tide, from about that 902-ish area in there. So a good move up there from that if you were scalping that. But right now it looks like we're kind of seeing just a lot of all premiums. So could see some in the money stuff up here because you're out of the money, sitting pretty flat now. Puts kind of tailing up a little bit now, still sitting bid side though, just seeing probably mostly led by Meta there, obviously. A lot of call volume still, and we are sitting in, still sitting in fear here. Pretty neutral on the sentiment there for options. Breadth is still kind of low there as well. Lulu, what's up? Welcome. Yeah, so I mean your tide, yeah, Tesla's your main contributor right now, and then obviously NVIDIA there. Flow-wise, not seeing a ton. I always forget to hide that notification there. Just I don't want emails popping up and getting in everybody's way, but yeah, I mean we got one page here of just ETF flow and obviously some earlier SPY puts here. Looks like they're kind of probably closing here, so I wasn't a fan of that SPY flow, obviously, with everything. Hey, JT showed up. Look at that. Coming in and out off that Tesla low. And we were just talking about Tesla. It's still your biggest driver here of your net premiums here on your market tide. But yeah, puts otherwise, I mean, these Oracle puts here, just hitting the tape here, kind of some decent size here. We'll take a peek at them. Really up today. Puts still picking up here. It's probably going to be a block trade, so yeah, no flow around it to kind of look at there, so we'll pass on that one. 7% out of the money with some time. Yeah, if you're still bearish on Oracle, that's something I'd look at there, possibly. Tesla puts. The 335s here kind of interest me. We could, yeah, let's take a peek at Microsoft here. I'm going to look at these Teslas quick, and then we'll head over to Microsoft for you. The 335s I like more than that 230. Obviously, 230, you're going to be 44% out of the money. Theta's going to eat those quick. The 335s, still kind of far out of the money. Interesting, though. I mean, 218, they were trading at 510 at point today. Just take a peek at it. So IV does spike here. Spots coming in at the ask here as well. So this one, you're coming in a cent below the ask here. Still on that ask side there. So that does look good to me there. Essentially there, yeah, your IV spikes. The one thing I don't like about this, and let's just kind of look here because you got some timestamps here about 6 seconds after. So IV does technically rise here. And then your IV drops. So the one thing here is obviously we don't know for sure. Like your seconds here are all the same, exactly 11:52:45. We can make an educated guess this is probably the same whale, but just kind of following this up, I mean, you're 6 seconds, 7 seconds after. More than likely, you can probably say it's the same person, but your IV does rise here and then kind of drop. So I probably wouldn't look at that, especially with your net call premiums really up today as well. I'm not really seeing a lot of put activity there in your last 14 days. Yeah, I'm gonna say Tesla's gonna probably make a little run here after those dips there. Catch up to that net premium gap there. So I'd probably pass on those. The Hertz calls. I'm just catching up on everything too right now because obviously I was taking a little lunch there. 1256 call. Oh wait, we were gonna look at Microsoft. Sorry, I gotta go back to Microsoft. Whoopsies. Let's do it here. So Microsoft. Idea Marcos, welcome in. Let's take a peek at Microsoft for you, see if anything interesting is coming up here. And so far, I'm just kind of seeing a lot of bid side calls here, so this is kind of a little shorter term, obviously 0-day ones here, so probably seeing some rolls in here is my guess. Big multi-leg ones coming in, let's see. Just trying to find some single leg ones here, and all the single leg ones seem to be bid side calls. Let's dive a little deeper in here and take a peek. So net premiums here, I want to pull that out here. So your net premium gaps essentially filled there. Your one here is not filled to the upside here, and I see what you mean. We're saying kind of defending that 500 level there. I mean, just kind of chopping here over the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sessions here. And with your net call premium, I would probably look at that to eventually come up there and fill that gap there. How are we looking? Highest volume, everything's going to be 0-day. Oh, we got a 7-day one here. Let's see if anything interesting is on this one. So this guy coming in here, 381,000. 225. They're not up that much. 232. Let's see if anything in here. Oop, we're gonna be big multi-leg. Yeah, it looks like that chain is big multi-leg there. Let's see if Gamma gives us any idea here. Let's come back here. Actually, I want to look at my highest open interest here. Yeah, let's see. So the 35-day ones here look interesting to me in the 585s because they got a lot of ask side on this one. Let's take a peek. So that came in. So it looks like most of that started to hit that feed last week of October. So let's just go back and take a peek. Big bid side there. So I'm guessing those were probably sells. They're just quickly looking at it and then could be buying some back there. Oh god, it's all multi-leg, man. All multi-leg stuff. Microsoft does tend to, whenever I see it, it seems to have a lot of multi-leg stuff. So I'm going to say that's probably a sell. Just a quick guesstimate looking at that quick, because 750 all the way down to 54, probably buying some back there. But let's look at the gamma on it, see if we got any changes. So gamma, I could see, do we have any, how's our history look here? Yeah, it looks like all of our levels kind of have been hit here for the most part. Some downside, you're still seeing positive gamma though, so that's the good thing there. I still do like that. Oops, let's go back here. With that net premium, if you do get some movement in the market, and like you said, West, you're holding that 500 level there. I'd like to see it fill that net call premium there. I'd like to see some flow behind it to support that though. Let's take a peek at it on the chart. Let's take a peek here. Microsoft. So what do I have here? I've been charting it for a little bit, so let's just get a little random line over there. Let's remove and just kind of redraw. So I'm going to put this on the weekly here to start out. I'm just kind of doing a quick little trend line here. Probably going to move this down to the daily now and see if I can zero in a little bit more. So you are within, oops, I don't even know how that pulled up there. Anyways, so you are within this channel here. Could look for, I'd like to see maybe a small little drop here, get to that support here, because you already, it looks like you broke that 100-day. I'm just going to zoom in here and take a peek. So we're back above that 100-day moving average here. So your strong support here is at that 497, so roughly that 500 level that you're pointing out there. Let's just move it up to 500 to make it pretty much perfect here. Go 527. I'm not going to get to 500. So, I mean, you can see, yeah, that 500 is really strong there, and you got that 100-day moving average of support there. Only thing I'm seeing here is you're obviously not getting above that 20-day moving average. But you got that support there, so it just seems like you're going to kind of chop in there, and RSI pretty neutral there. But yeah, your overall long-term channel here, I've got you sitting just kind of in here, and it is kind of a little bigger channel, obviously. A lot of big moves here in Microsoft over the past, since 21, March 20th, or 2020 there. Yeah, that 500 does look good maybe for a small little technical bounce, but I'd kind of watch that 20-day and maybe that top of that channel there. Is MRK up again today? Wow, look at that. It's hitting my support right now, or that resistance right now. That was a killer move there. If anybody would have actually swung those a couple extra days. BE got that gap fill yesterday. 2 great trades. So those will be recapped a little bit later tonight. God, that MRK, I think you're not going to get above that 95 is your resistance, though. Man, that one was right there, and you're starting to get a little oversold there, too. So, yeah, if you are still in MRK, you're a pretty happy customer there. BE would have been... Yeah, I can do MSTR for you. Specific contract at all for you, ML? So we got some bid side puts here. I know, you were a little longer term, weren't you? ML, TMS there. I know you put a contract in the chat yesterday, but I can't remember off the top of my head what it was. Was it like a November call? I know it was a call, but I don't remember what actual strike it was for you. So I like that, the 11/21/2/15 call. That's some big premium there. Let's just see if there's a whale that sticks out. And check that open interest, but my guess is 5,000 there. Yeah, so all of this has came in since the 7th. So bid. Yeah, there's definitely some new openers for sure. All right, I'm gonna pull up that exact contract there for you. So give me 1 second. Yeah, the one thing I know you said your average was kind of up there. I would be cautious though, because 7 days here, you're going to get 2 days of theta decay over the weekend, and you're going to probably need a bigger move on those to kind of get back. So I would maybe almost, and this is just something I'd do, again, not giving you any advice or anything, but if you're still actually really bullish on MSTR there, could possibly look at rolling the contracts out. But on this one, let's see, so 11.4, let's go back 14 days. Yeah, this specific chain, I'm not really seeing a whole lot. It's pretty mixed with your ask and bid side, almost more bid side here too. 180, ooh. Yeah, I don't want to tell you what to do, but that's 180. So I'm just trying to see maybe when you got in here, probably 180-ish. So back here probably on the 12th, couple days ago. Let's see how you're looking short term here. Let's go in here and look. So I mean, you do have net call premiums, that gaps that technically need to get filled there at some point. Gamma, the negative gamma there, that's like the first negative gamma that's significant here, was today too. That looks like it's your biggest significant gamma, at least historically, on unusual whales. So to me, that's kind of telling me it's a more downside possibly. Let's go back here and take a peek. So obviously going to be a lot of 0 days here. Pin 35, yeah. Just doing a quick glance at these, and not really seeing, I mean, that glaring put there. I mean, it's a 10.5 put though, so it's almost 100% out of the money, so that's not really significant at all. How we've been trading volume-wise? Yeah, we've been trading about normal-ish volume here. Yeah, I would be cautious with those, obviously, heading over the weekend. Net premiums say up at some point, and then your gamma still shows a little down as well. But you had a lot of put outflow come in here, back here on the 7th here. So that's a good sign there at least. Yeah, the weekly ones, especially over the weekend, are really, I mean, theta's going to eat those contracts away. Let's see what we got coming in here. 1128 ANET 131 put. Pretty much a mid-fill here. Do you know anything about the CRV CDs talk? I haven't heard anything about that, JT. Like, we can look at the flow for core weave though. I usually kind of don't follow those not as significant names. Let's look at these ANTs first, and then we'll look at it. Yeah, this one pretty much, again, your spot coming at 370, bid ask is 360 to 380. Smaller volume. Up here, 7% multi-leg, so not too much. Again, anything under 10 to me is pretty much fine. 2% out of the money with 2 weeks on these. Got put volume coming up here. How do we look last 7 days? So a lot of put volume coming out today. And that's interesting because that day back here on the 10th, when we had a lot of outflow on puts, we tanked that next day, so that's interesting to me. below. Let's take a peek. Take a peek, take a peek. So IV does spike here. Yeah, NVIDIA earnings, I'd probably stay away from that. Your contracts are going to be so elevated. We'll look at the implied move for NVIDIA here after. I want to look at CoreWeave here for JT after this one quick. Small drop here, 3K, not a huge issue. 04, 23. Yeah, you can take a shot on something like this. See what else we got. I wish I could see a little more premium. So bid side calls there. Wonder if they're taking profits today. Looks like some previous volume there. Just trying to see if it was a big whale. No. Could be selling those calls too. See if we can get some clues here. So 49, 40. Yeah, those look like call sells there to me. See how that IV drops right when that flow comes in, coming in at the bid. Good size, good premium. Those look like call sells there to me, which would support that flow, those puts. Gamma. Yeah, Gamma's got a ways to go down. I do like those A and T puts. I'm going to throw those in the chat here. Get that in the chat quick here, then we'll do CoreWeave for you, JT. Let's go look at core. Actually, I gotta make sure I save these. Let's see. Did I save those? No, I didn't. Okay, let's go look at CoreWeave. CoreWeave getting clapped again today, it looks like. So that's a big call there, coming in above the ask there. 2,000 size, 1.06 million there. Block trade though, so I'm guessing we probably won't get a good. Oh, I got some. Oh. Yeah, you got a big IV spike there. It's floor trade. Just kind of looking at the timings there. I mean, you're coming in above the ask. That's very interesting to me. Got anything else coming in here? Big size, big premium. Let's see these ask side puts. 0-day calls. Looks like whatever those were. I think that whale got in at the bid, got out at the ask there, just quickly looking at that. 7-day calls. 7-day puts, multi-leg though. Yeah, I mean, that one call is your biggest outlier there. So net call premium wise, so you filled that lower net premium gap. Obviously you'd have to come up and fill that one at some point. There would get you back to that probably 107, 108-ish price target. Let's see, 7 days, 7 days. Yeah, I mean, you're still seeing a lot of ask side volume here on puts. Everything else is kind of split. Your open interest here. So 35-day calls, 60% there. See when that started coming in. So back on the 26th here of September. So those look like call sells there. 954, and yeah, I mean, they're probably not still, I mean, you wouldn't be bullish probably on something still. I mean, giving up almost $900 a contract. They're clearly call sells here. We'll see if we can just kind of look. Yeah, so you see that IV drop, IV stays the same, IV drops there. Yeah, definitely call sells there, and part of a multi-leg trade too. How are we doing gamma-wise? Yeah, CoreWeave's still kind of showing me a little downside there, and then you kind of have that outlier with the net call premium. I'd like to see that net call premium probably be a little higher there. I mean, you did fill that gap. Yeah, kind of the gamma and the net premiums kind of outweigh each other there. Let's see if trying to see if I see anything in the news here with the CD thing. Or the zero aggressive and lock them up. I don't think this is what you're talking about. Forecast. I know. Well, this is a big thing that's causing the downside there. Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting one, JTC. Kind of see what happens. Let's go look at. I want to look at Nvidia here. So obviously earnings next Wednesday afternoon. I'm still waiting for that, and I'd love to see that Nvidia net call premium gap get filled there. But I think we are bearish on gamma. Yeah, gamma wise, still seeing some positive gamma, but tailing off a little bit from your price. So your earnings here. So we'll go last 16 quarters, get some more data in here. So you've hit oops, get out of there, come on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of the last technically 15 quarters, because 16 will be next Wednesday, have hit that implied move. Everything else has closed within that implied move there. So keep that in mind, and your contracts are going to be up, and they are expecting a $1.24 per share there, and miss the last 2 quarters, so that's going to be interesting to see what happens there in your last 2 quarters. So I mean, yeah, you missed there. Move, I'm just kind of looking at the move. So that first miss, they didn't really care about that much. And you can see, I mean, you beat earnings here and you drop 8%. It's earnings 100% crapshoot there. It's casino. It's a lotto, everything there, what you're doing. Because you never know what's going to go on the call, and kind of just how people see it. But yeah, that's an interesting one. I mean, not favorable to get a move outside of that implied move there. Your implied move here about 6.5%, a little bit over it. So, and it looks like it's your biggest implied move. Yeah, nope, the market will be waiting on Nvidia earnings, and then Home Depot, Walmart next week as well too. But yeah, your biggest implied move, so 6.5 there. So biggest implied move since Q1 of this year. Yeah, no, that is the smartest thing to do. Like, unless you're playing like a really, really just lottery contract, and I always tell people, if you're gonna play earnings, you need to be okay losing 100% of what you're trading right there, because you're putting it into a slot machine at that point for earnings. Not a fan of earnings. I always tell this story, and it always reminds me and why I'm never gonna play earnings like seriously again. This was, I think, back in 2023. I did all this research on Robinhood, and I got calls on Robinhood. They actually beat earnings. They had their first profitable quarter, and the stock tanked, and I was just pissed. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, all the research was there, and everything was on target, but then Robinhood just tanked off of their first profitable quarter, and I'm like, cool. It's stupid. It's frustrating. Let's see. IBIT 43 puts, a little longer term, good size, good premium. Let's take a peek. There's a lot of call premium today. And not liking these that much. $254. So your flow does read as a buy though. Your your spot rises. Man, these look like buys to me. But I just don't, being down so much on the day, I mean your IV is going to be up as well too. Hold off on those, especially with your call premium picking up there. Yeah, AMD has been very interesting. Yeah, AMD, yeah, a lot of movement on that one. Big spike in that net call premium that day, and almost came back up there and picked that up too. Or those were our 2 days from earlier in the week. Yeah, you're just really overextended gamma-wise. I mean, you're still seeing positive gamma, but just your prices really diverged there. Let's see, do we got anything else coming in? The clove, that's a nasty spread, not even gonna waste time on that. Those Avgos, we're still flat on these. I was expecting those to be up a little bit more. But when I looked at these, obviously you can see probably why they weren't posted. IV 5079, we're just following this up. You see that IV decreasing here. Pretty much all the way up here, 5033 now. And 5007. So that IV is decreasing that entire time. These are more than likely sells at the ask. Again, could be wrong, but that's how I would read those, a sell at the ask with that IV decreasing and that spot decreasing. Again, you're only 1% out of the money though, so you could get a good move on those, but weeklies over the weekend, what's our theta decay on these? Total theta daily 9 cents here. That doesn't seem right off an 844 contract. Let's go back in here and look. Let's see. So Monday is what, the 17th? So you would need to be about 353.50 there to kind of see some decent profits there. But even a 1% move there is gonna keep you negative. Where's my, that theta's not right on that. Okay, there we go, 67 a day. That's a little more reasonable. I was gonna say it's not 9 cents a day. There's no way. Let's see what else we got coming in here. Yeah, Tide, you're still looking bearish. I'm gonna get a drink here. So if anybody has any charts or anything they want me to look up, feel free to drop them in. I'm gonna grab a drink here quick. Okay. Yeah, I know. It's been a wild day. Coming back down to reality. Bet we'll come and test that VWAP there. Haven't really seen much flinch on that tide. I mean, obviously Tesla and Nvidia, your biggest contributors to that, otherwise flat. Why is the dog barking? Yeah, let's keep dropping them here. I just want to see why the dog's barking, because the dog's barking kind of loud. So I will be right back. We're taking a halftime break here. Oh, cool. UPS guy dropped off my project for later tonight. Nice. That's why he's barking. What a good guard dog. Alright, let's do... Wes, did you want me to look at ONDS there? Or was that just kind of... You're just throwing out a thought? I don't want to pass over it and then miss it. We'll look at Apple. We'll look at ONDS. I'll do it since we're in order here. So let me open up my feed. ONDS. Those are the best people. Those are the best people. ONDS here. A lot of long-term calls still kind of coming in. Anything premium-wise sticking out to me right away. Not specifically premium. Oh, here we go. 7 call. That's your largest premium, it looks like. Still kind of flat on those two. 7% in the money, though. Keep that in mind. Oh, God, it's slow movers, man. I just want to look at that previous, because there is some. So back on the 29th of October. Yeah, it's 1,000 there. Yeah, this one, you start to get a lot of volume here, so it's hard to kind of know exactly who is who on something like that. Probably would lean. I mean, they look like openers to me. But you do have a lot of previous open interest as well. And from that, I'm going to come back one more time and look. In 263, are you getting out at 315? Possibly. Let's see what else we got in here. So some 35-day calls here on the 7.5. That all came in at the 938. So 938-ish here, so 134. Those are sitting pretty flat. Again, a lot of open interest already on this. So it's hard to just kind of know. Know if somebody's exiting here or whatnot. Let's look at our fundamentals on it. So when your price is technically extended above that net call premium there, so that gap would be filled already. Let's go back 30 days and see. You hit that high already there too. So yeah, your net call premium gaps all look filled there too, even that downside one. Gamma. Yeah, you're pretty much in line with gamma there. Let's do the chart here. So chart wise, I mean, on your daily there, and I don't like kind of doing the same day candle yet because I don't know how we're going to finish. But that's just doing a quick little chart there. I mean, you are in, let's do it like this. Oops. You can see when I switched over that 4 hours, starting to kind of reject on that there too. Earnings, they just had earnings, so B earnings and revenue. So I would draw a I mean, this would be my resistance supply zone here, because obviously, well, choppy there. You did pop that one time and then drop, drop. Kind of came up close to it, drop, and now we're sitting here at that downtrend. I almost would look to short that. And we did look at, yeah, you're in line there, and then your net premiums were there as well. Yeah, I'd almost look to short that with maybe a stop above that 794-ish area. Alright, let me clean up some of these tabs here, and then we will move to Apple, and then we'll look on some oil stuff for you, M1. And then we will do Roku for JRO. So let me do Apple here. Okay, so Apple. Apple. Premiums of bid side call there. Just kind of looking for the big premiums right away. So big multi-leg stuff here. Probably a roll of some sort. Looks like it. 0 day to the 14, yep. Some more multi-leg junk here. Yeah, it's all multi-leg on the mat. Oh, here we go. Here's an interesting one right here. So I like these right here, obviously. About 20 minutes ago, too, so not too new. We're not too old, sorry. So bid side Apple here, 2151 IVs, just staying there. So you're coming in at the ask, and then you drop to the bid. Now I want to look at those calls here, the 275.63 day out ones. Wait a minute. 270, okay. So big bid side there. A lot of open interest too already, so this is going to be a little tricky, yeah. Just, you don't know where the contracts are changing hands when you get this much volume. It's not the best to track, so that's a pass on those, but those were interesting when I saw those hit the feed there. More bid side puts here about same time as those others. Ask side puts there, bid side puts there. Let's see how we're looking this. I know our net call premiums, we had a big, let's see. So net call premiums, I mean, you're trending way above that, and your gap is essentially filled there. You do have that one big lower gap there, so that's something kind of would be concerning. Maybe like a longer term view on it. Gamma here. Yeah, not. I mean, you're pretty in line with your level here. Maybe a couple more bucks up or so. Get you to that 278-ish or so. I think that is our highest we have there, yep. And then, I mean, you're still seeing some positive gamma, but kind of tailing off there. So that's interesting there. Pop back here to the main feed. Just looking at our highest volume. Yeah, everything's going to mostly be 0 days here on Friday. That's the thing. Let's see what we got that's not 0 day. So 7 days out. Just kind of looking for a stronger side here. So these 65% longer term. Getting some previous open interest here. Let's just see if we can go back and find it. Yeah, I mean, you just get that much volume, it just can make it a little tougher to know what's changing hands and all that. Just kind of looking. Yeah, you'd want to check that open interest. You know it'd be more of an ad probably if you're sitting at about almost 15,000-ish here on Friday or Monday. Just looking through these contracts, just trying to see if anything sticks out. 72, so puts there. 98 longer calls. Okay, let's close that. And then Apple chart quick. So Apple chart, obviously you're sitting all-time highs here. Clearly I haven't charted Apple for a little bit. Let's do some trend. Nope, we'll do the day. Starting up here, I'm just gonna kind of chart that bottom here of our March, and then come in here and just kind of try to eye it a little bit better here. That's not the best spot either. Probably come in here and do it like that. I mean, so you're within that kind of channel. You just don't have anything to go off of when you're at all-time highs, which can make it kind of difficult, but we can just try to run a line here and see how we look from this angle here. So I would actually delete that and maybe run with a line here actually. So kind of just tighten that up a little bit. Then your channel here, I mean, you're sitting there in your uptrend and then get your other uptrend here, so you're starting to get tight here, so I'm gonna bust down there or break out and go up to the top there. You're getting a lot, pretty overbought here as well, but your 200 and 100-day moving averages are really curling up as well here. Getting a little overbought too. It's an interesting one to kind of keep an eye on, especially with that big dip in that net call premium and that gamma. Come on, click. That gamma level pretty much intact here, pretty much at that level. That'll be an interesting one to see what happens there. Alright, let's do Roku now. Let's take a peek. So some ask side puts here. Okay, look for premium first. So 107,000 here, 98-day out puts here. So again, split right at that ask and bid there. That almost, let's see. Yeah, I mean, that's almost 50-50 there. So puts up. Not seeing anything there. Let's kind of look at the flow on this one. 7. 57.41, 57.21. These might be sells at the ask. Let's see how's our timing. 5 cents apart. Again, 35.17, or it starts at 10:35.16 to 10:35.49. So again, we don't 100% know if it's the same person, but our code, this is our broker where they're transacted, is pretty much the same except for these 3 up here. IV drops here and then kind of spikes there. Let's see what else we got for flow on that one. I almost want to say those look like sells at the ask. And I mean, when you're out that far too, it's hard to know. So a lot of intraday puts here a little earlier in the day. 226, you're trading at 294. Those are up a little bit. We do have some previous open interest. So 2,900, we'll say 3,000, make it easy, plus another 1,500, so 4,500 between those. Let's see, math isn't mathing right here. So 2,900 contracts, they carried over on the 31st. You had 1,400 traded on the 31st. Those dropped off, so it looks like some of those closed out. You got a adjustment here. And then some volume today. Yeah, you'd want to check that volume on Monday for sure on that. Scanning for anything else interesting. No, we'll look at your underlying fundamentals here again. Net premium. Ooh. That's a big outlier there on that net call premium here. That'd have to be a pretty big drop there. About a, let's see, that brings us to about 92-ish for a strike to fill that net call premium gap there. And obviously we kind of hit that level. We've hit it before. We actually just hit it back there on October 13th. Gamma wise. Yeah, and you got a negative day of gamma there too, and last time we had a negative day of gamma, obviously it's not as significant as the August 1st there. See what happened that day we tanked there. Just looking for any. So have we hit this upper level here? Yes, we have. So your line did hit that gap there. But yeah, you're still seeing some positive gamma again, tailing off a little bit here. It's not like where you look at SPY here. And I want to show the gamma on SPY, where you start seeing a lot of that negative gamma. So like this is concerning to me, where you're seeing a lot of that negative gamma. You're still seeing some positive gamma on like Roku and Apple there, where it's still, you're seeing liquidity put into it. Versus this is liquidity getting pulled out, so, and that's kind of interesting to see how long that's going to take to hit that level, because I always come back and show people that March gamma, when it started to tank, it took till about April to get that, and it will take a while to sometimes fill it, because you see that positive gamma start coming up here. Took a little bit from like that April 11th-ish, early April up to, July here to kind of just hit that top level there. Even to hit that kind of top level there, it was like August. So it takes a little bit. So, this isn't like a day trade where you're like, oh, the gamma's down, let's just full port 0 days. No, you need to have a little strategy with it. But, yeah, with Roku there, I'm not really seeing much with it, JRO. I'd probably honestly lean short on that with that gamma drop there. Then you look at your net premium, you had that big, oops, I like this net premium, that big drop there. And then when do you have earnings on this? We don't have earnings for a little bit. I want to look at the chart here too quick for you. Chart. Yeah, I'm just quickly eyeballing it here, and see if I can draw this out a little bit better. I just want to get a quick beginner little zone in there. Obviously bounced off that little uptrend from the all-time, or from the IPO. This is where I got your resistance here. Broke it there, failed, broke it a little bit there, then we failed, came up close, failed, slowly failed. Looks like we're starting to fail here as well. Yeah, I'd almost look at that, and you got earnings in 90 days, so you don't have to worry about earnings for that amount of time. almost one. I just want to look at the market tide here. Let's see. So net put premiums out of the money minus 31 million. Or all net put premiums 40 minus 40 million. Net call premiums out of the money only 6 million. Net call premiums all 131 million, volume 792,000. So that volume's starting to kind of tail off on the calls. SPY is still up. I kind of look at this as flat because you got your Tesla's your reason why you're seeing a big spike here. Tesla and Nvidia. Without those two, you can just see it. I mean, visually, you're not getting a lot of participation there. So your premiums essentially would be probably at near that zero there. And refresh this and see how our fear gauge is doing. So still fear on those, neutral on those. Breadth is still bearish. XLK, let's see, 550, kind of small volume. We looked at those. Let's close this out. Does anybody have any other flower charts they want me to? Oh wait, we were gonna look at sorry, I almost ignored your M1. We're gonna go look at some oil companies. Let's go to our sectors. Any specific company that you kind of want me to take a peek at? M1. FCX and MBT. Okay, we'll do those two after. Let's see, I'm just gonna kind of look at the sector here for you. M1, let's see, so XOM, let's see, you're sitting kinda, so EOG might have something. Just trying to see if anything's sticking out, maybe, oops. Oxy. Let's look at the sector. So yeah, your sector looks like you're obviously hit that net call premium gap already there. Holdings pretty bullish today. So a lot of ask side puts premium coming in here for the 35-day out 12/19/86 puts. Open interest 80,000 on those, so 1,000 bid side coming off those. Trade at about 0.92 of the 30-day average volume. Let's see. So Gamma, yeah, you're pretty much in line there. Net premiums didn't really show me anything. Let's look at this. TRGP. And line, or your net call premium, you hit there. Just not a lot of volume on this one, obviously. I mean, this is your highest volume on the day, and it's 30 contracts. Yeah, just crappy spreads, so probably nothing on that guy. We'll look at EOG. Again, not a lot of premiums traded on this one. So 85 contracts on that 115.27, 0 day, kind of ignore that. So I'd say you've seen a lot of your open interest on those puts though. Probably your open interest on your puts there. Let's look at our Gamma. Yeah, you could see a move up to kind of get back to those levels. That's ugly. Very, very ugly. Yeah, I mean, you've been trending back up slowly. Yeah, otherwise I'm not really seeing a ton for your energy there. Everything else kind of looked a little mixed. Let's do So I gotta watch the clock here. I gotta probably hop off here in 10 minutes. So I'm gonna probably do FCX and then MDT and probably hop off here. Alright, let's do FCX. Why are you... FCX here. Get rid of that. So FCX, so you got a longer dated one here. Ask side put, bid side put. Guessing those two are probably related there. So a lot of open interest on this one already too. Yeah, that's your big one, 503. It looks like whatever happened there. I mean, they hit 100% and 747 could be taking some off that one. Have to check that open interest Monday, but it looks like everything's pretty much still in line here. 3,000 there. So that was your. Let's go back to the beginning here. So just small little chunks kind of coming in. Your big chunk there. Carried over, big chunk there, carried over. I don't see any massive volume dropping out of that open interest. So that could be some profit taken there. We want to double check that one tomorrow, or not tomorrow, Monday. God, I'm so happy the market's not 7 days a week. FCX, yeah, I'm not really seeing much for premiums there. Obviously, still would have to fill this net call premium gap here and see where my line is. It looks like about 42.25ish, 42.35ish in that area there. If they do a 27-hour market, I am not doing it on Saturday, Sunday. I'm telling you that right now. And I'll just do normal market hours. I can't do anymore. It's tiring after so much. You can only stare at a screen so long. And I'm guessing overnight's probably not going to see that much action anyways. If they do 24/7, it's going to be premium collection. Let's see, a lot of bid side calls here, so that's kind of telling me maybe a little bearishness. Yeah, you're just not seeing action there, but yeah, that net call premium one there, interesting. Let's look at gamma here quick for you. Yeah, I'm seeing a little downside there on that gamma. Again, still seeing some positive gamma, but pretty big drop off today. Got to come in and match those levels at some point, and all our other levels look to have been matched. So I'm going to say FCX possibly bearish there. And let's do MDT here for you. And then I have to hop off. So right away, big one there. Actually, I'm going to look at that chart quick for FCX for you. Yuck, that's an ugly chart. Look at it on the weekly here, see if we can get a little cleaner. I mean, it's ugly chart. Come in here, maybe draw like that there. Then, I mean, this is your kind of your little ugly wedge type, whatever you want to call it. God, that's an ugly chart. I mean, you're just kind of consolidating in this area for the most part. Until you probably get into a little more point there, then you'll squeeze one of the ways at least. But yeah, that's an ugly chart. Pretty ugly chart. Even kind of coming back here and trying to draw that out. You don't get a clean trend line anywhere really, except for your downtrend kind of there, and you're still getting a lot of candles above that, which I don't like. I like them a lot cleaner than that. So I'm going to say your chart, I mean, just kind of showing me consolidation there. All right, let's do MDT here, and then I have to hop off. So MDT, So that's a single leg here, more towards the ask side. Let's take a peek. Definitely, at least this one, you definitely know it's an opener because you have 350 contracts against 5 open interest contracts. 350 does not fit into 5. You just don't have any flow around it to kind of look at. And earnings in 4 days too, so keep that in mind. Let's see, so a lot of volume and 0-day stuff here, so that's kind of irrelevant now. So your net premiums here, oh yeah, you got a little ways to go up to fill those 2 net call premium gaps there. So you can see a little upside there, possibly. Then your gamma, still positive, not a massive divergence. Nothing else there. And I want to look at the chart here quick, and then Medtronic. So at least this one easily kind of draw a better trend line. So I mean, you can see how you at least kind of get most of your wicks and everything within that trend line. I just don't like, I mean, the goal when you're drawing trend lines, obviously you want to try to get as many of the candles on that line as possible without going in super deep like that. Kind of looking there. I mean, you are in a kind of resistance area here again as well. Obviously, reject, pop there, reject, popped, reject, came close, rejected, rejected there, and we're coming back up to test there. Yeah, it's gonna be dependent on earnings on something like this. All your EMAs are all kind of mixed together as well too. Obviously, earnings, your catalyst, 4 days to go. You're even sitting pretty neutral there. How's it look on the daily though? Like on the daily, you can see a better. Well, maybe if I can learn to. On the daily here, I mean, like you can see when you draw that trend line, you're hitting all those candles mostly at that bottom of where they're at, so you're not really coming in over that. But yeah, I mean, that's looking like resistance there, so you got to get a good earnings report. But all right, I do have to hop off here. It's recorded, so if you missed any of it, it'll be popped into the live stream. I'm going to try to hopefully hop on over the weekend as well, do another live. So otherwise, have a great weekend, everyone.